For project one, you will take the three of the assignments that you have done previously and combine them together to make one fluid project. So we'll be looking at the hover assignment that you did that used some CSS and jQuery, the sliding images assignment that you did that used a lot more CSS and jQuery, as well as adding these two elements of fixed bar, fixed content somewhere, as well as some kind of a pop-out, drop-down something. It doesn't have to be an ad by any means. You can put actual content in it. So we're going to be looking at your assignment 3, assignment 4, and assignment 5. I will want you to create a project 1 folder in your server share space. You need to use different images. So I do not want to see any of the images from assignment 3, 4, or 5. So entirely different images on the project. It should look different from your previous assignments. If I look at your project and it looks like you just took those three and somehow slapped them together and you're hoping to get points, you're going to be very disappointed. So just now that being said, I mean I do expect to see something like this and something like this, but they should flow together because clearly these are two entirely separate things, right? So you're going to have to work on some design and make it look good. For the hover part, you cannot use 8 images. So we did 8 here. There must be at least 6, and there's no maximum. So you could turn this into 12 if you want, but it cannot be 8. And the purpose is so that you are going to have to change some code. And how that's done. For the slider part, you cannot use 7 images. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this assignment. So you must have at least 6. There's no maximum, but you cannot have 7. So once again, that's to force you to have to change some code and show that you understand what's going on in this assignment, and you have the ability to modify that jQuery and make it work the way that you want it to work. So my examples below that we're going to look at, they just use these images, but what I'm going to tell you is that I want these to be categories, or depending which direction you go, each one of these would be a category. And so the example I give is if you start with the hover piece and you have 10 different basketball teams, so you've got team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, but then you click on one of those, it takes you to this, and this would be a whole bunch about team 4 if you clicked on team 4, right? So let's go down here and look at these. So you could start with this as your main landing page. And then each one of these would be a category of images, and it could be, it could be a category of food, it could be a category of animals, it could be sports teams, it could be cars, but it should be, by category I mean like items. So the team aspect I think explains it pretty well, where you've got each one of these would be an individual team, and then you click one of those, or you put an element that you click, and it takes you to this, and each of these are specific items related to that one team. And you come back here and you go to the next team and you follow it, and all of these are specific to that next team. So you could go this direction where this is your main landing, and following one of these leads you to this, a whole bunch of images. This is a different way to, instead of having an ad, think of making one here a pop-up or something. Likewise, you could do the reverse. You could start with this one as your main landing page. Let's say you've got 12 items there, but each one of those is a category. Let's say you've got 4, 8, and then another row makes 12. And let's say you've got 12 categories, and you click one of those categories, and let's say you do all dogs, and so you do 12 different types of dog, and then you follow one of those. Let's say you choose German Shepherd. You follow one of those. It comes to a slider, and you've got 10 images that you can click through. All of them are German Shepherds. So that's the idea with the categories and the relationship together. And here's just another idea of you've got your fixed content, and maybe clicking that slides out something for contact us. Um, and then another idea is, which I didn't post an image of, but you basically stack these. Maybe a lot of times when you see this image slider, it actually appears up in this top portion here. So you could make the top portion of your page that you're looking at the slider, and you can make the bottom portion the hover. And when you click on one up here, it changes the bottom. The design and the layout is really up to you, but you do have to meet these criteria. You do have to have the categories of images. You do have to use assignments 3, 4, and 5. So you do have to have the sliding images. You do have to have the hover. You do have to have the fixed content. You do have to have the what I'm calling the add box. You cannot use 8 images on hover. You cannot use 7 on slider. If we come down here to the grading, so one thing I'm going to be looking for is, did you include the hover over images? Did you include the add and fixed elements? Did you include sliding images? So if you leave any one of those out, it's an automatic loss of those 10 points. But in addition, when you used hover, did it work correctly? Did this work correct? Did each one of these work correctly? Did you follow directions correctly? So make sure that you do everything, and then the last 30% of the grade is going to be aesthetics. So I do not want to see just a plain white page with I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this at all. I want to see a well-designed site that has this in it. I don't want to see this. I want to see a well-designed site that has this in it, and you flow between those items. So aesthetics is part of that. So you're going to need a lot of CSS to design your site well, and that gets us through the introduction for Project 1, and that should cover everything. Oops, didn't need to do that.